Welcome to What's Arising. What if life was trying to get your attention and have an intimate, two-way conversation with you, to tell you all its secrets, to guide you out of drama and suffering, to deepen your connection to love, beauty, freedom, joy, and peace? Are you, or would you be willing to open your heart and mind to that conversation with life, to become fluent in the language of life? To pause, listen, learn, and leap into the possibilities as they arise. As you listen to this podcast, I invite you to open your heart and mind to what is arising within you while I share what is arising for me and what I notice arising in the world. As you listen, I invite you to notice any reactions, thoughts, emotions, and felt sense of things in your body. Notice where you open up or close down and resist. Notice any assumptions, beliefs, or judgments that might arise. Are they true? Consider suspending them as you practice opening to other perspectives. Notice any deep insights or calls to actions that may arise. If you and I were having a two-way conversation, what would you be called to say from that deeper part of self? What questions would you have? Feel free to write those comments and questions in the comments. Within all your arising, what could life be trying to tell you? If you resonate with this podcast, please share it with your friends. And if you get a sense that I may be able to help you understand or navigate what is arising in your life, visit my webpage at www.elevatelife to find other ways to connect and work with me. I hope you enjoy the podcast. So, welcome to the What's Arising podcast. For the purposes of this What's Arising podcast and the ongoing podcasts, I'd like to develop a metaphor that might be useful for perspective as we go through these podcasts, and also for your life, to not get so attached into life. Many years ago, in 1997 in India, I had this wild experience of, I guess I was leaving my body, and had this experience of love after a night that was extremely stressful. And this experience that I had, one of the messages I took back was that I've never done anything wrong, and nobody has ever done anything wrong. That was completely true in coming out of this experience back into my body in India. I couldn't explain it. I didn't really know what it meant, but I knew it was true. And wow, coming back here, we can look at I can look at all the things I've done, and I haven't. I've done some things that I'm not proud of, and look at the world. And how could I say that nobody does anything wrong? And yet that other experience was completely true. That everything was love, and it was all everything was okay. Everything was okay, and going to be okay. How could you explain that? Well, one of the ways that I've learned to look at life, and I'm still learning this, still in the process, of letting go and forgiving and looking on the light side of life was that one of the ways I could explain this was life was like a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. What if life was a dream? And that if we woke up from this life, which, yes, feels very real, pain and suffering and joy and um, everything that's here, all the beauty that's here, and all of the things that seem awful here in this world. What if it's all a dream? And we woke up from this dream and none of it really happened. None of it was true. Like if we were in our sleeping dreams and we woke up from them, we wouldn't, be attached to the story that happened in our dream, the victim, the perpetrator, the good and bad things that happen. What if with this dream of life, we woke up and everything was okay, and everything was love, and everything was just an experience we had in a dream? To develop this metaphor a little bit more, I invite you to look back at your sleeping dreams, assuming you remember your dreams or have remembered a dream here and there in your life. The longest time I did not remember any of my dreams. And about the same period where I had that experience in India, I met a woman that, encouraged me to analyze my sleeping dreams. So I practiced remembering dreams and analyzing dreams. And I didn't go much farther than that. But if you look at your dreams that you have, if you recall them, you will have noticed when you woke up and remembered dreams that they were completely real in the dream. When we're dreaming, they feel completely completely real. I have this body which I'm moving around in the dream. Maybe not by the same rules I have in this world. Maybe I can even fly in that sleeping dream. There's no gravity there, or sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. They're all very creative. But I have a body, and there's objects separate from me and people separate from me. I can feel things, I can see things, I can hear things, and other people in the dream are real, absolutely real. Everything that's happening while I'm in that dream is real. And there's emotions. I can get upset, I can laugh, I can do all those kinds of things. And then I wake up and I can look at all of that and hmm, that wasn't real. That sleeping dream I discovered is full of symbolism, dream symbolism. Doesn't feel or looking at dreams just directly like, what the heck is that dream all about? But if I analyze it and start to understand the dream symbolism that my psyche uses, I can start to really quickly analyze those dreams I found out. And it can be when I discover what these metaphors and signs and symbols mean in the dream, that it can be quite hilarious. Oh, I make meaning in this dream and the same dream symbolism as the dream tries to communicate to me back on the other side. It's really quite marvelous and beautiful, those sleeping dreams and what they do. But yes, I can also have nightmares in those dreams. And I can come out and I can analyze those nightmares and I can discover, okay, so this nightmare was about these things that I'm processing in this life, in the waking life, and I'm processing stuff in that sleeping dream, which if I know that and analyze that, that sleeping dream can help me in this life to navigate this life and understand what my dreams are processing from usually the last day or two. And every day or two, I take my experiences, my thoughts, my emotions into these dreams, analyze them. Mostly it's about the dreams tend to be about that. Sometimes they're about prophetic kinds of things, the future that's upcoming occasionally. Sometimes the dreams are about things that are happening out there in the collective and we're not really to do with me as an individual, but something that's happening maybe in the other side of the world. Maybe I become even aware of that through the news afterwards. That wow, my dream was, was a shadowing of something that was happening out there. My understanding, I haven't experienced this myself, but my understanding is you can train yourself to be lucid or awake or aware inside the sleeping dream. So you can go in there and you can walk around and you can go have a dream and you go, let me change this, and you can change the scenario. You can even do scenario planning from life and solve problems. Take a life problem. Maybe it's an interview with a boss. You can take that into a dream and have the interview with one perspective, and then you can say, no, well, let me try this with the interviewer, and you can work out things or other problems inside the dream while you're awake. It's going to be really quite cool from what I understand to be lucid in that. But I've been more interested in this waking dream, if that's what it is. What if we're lucid in this dream? What if we could analyze? What if everything that's happening around us is also symbolic of something else? What if maybe the soul is having a dream processing something at the soul level through this Richard? And just like this sleeping dream, Richard is an avatar that isn't really there. It's a dream. That's perspective, and Richard in that dream isn't actually there. It's like an avatar. What if this body, Richard, isn't real? Is just an avatar in this simulation or dream that the soul is having to work out things and work out things that have happened in my childhood as I continue to have reflections in my physical experience. So, what if things coming to me are just reflections of things that I am working out from childhood, maybe even past lives, ancestral stuff, maybe at a human level? So, what if I can take things in as symbolic of something that the soul is processing, and that everything here is then an opportunity for the soul to work out things or an opportunity for creativity. Uh, if I could be lucid, awake within this, could I have a bigger impact? Could I accelerate the processing of the stuff from the past and let it go and forgive it? And then step into a whole new realm where I'm much more creative in this life and into a place of service for humanity because I've not only let go of stuff from the past and my ancestral past and my attachments to blame and shame and victim at the personal level. Now with less and less baggage carrying around, I can be much more creative in how I serve the world. What if life was a dream and all of those benefits were there? What if I could navigate life better if I let go of the baggage that life was always showing me in the dream? Always saying, hey, Richard, here's the nightmare you're dreaming. Let go of the monster. And so if I'm lucid, I go, oh, it's the monster I've created. I'm going to forgive that. I'm going to let it go. And what if life or the dream of life responds and I no longer have to be upset because I've processed, forgiven, and let go, or I have a very different perspective on what's happening in life, and I can step into this amazing beauty of the dream of life, not having the suffering. Or if I am having an experience of suffering, I can analyze it and say, oh, that's what the suffering I've taken on is about. This is how I can let it go, forgive it, and move to a more powerful place within my life to reach my goals or whatever. What if we are dreaming? What could the impact of that be? What different perspectives can I take that are more empowering in this life? So I hope that makes some sense. I invite you to play with that idea if you're not already. What if we're dreaming um, up an experience with these polarities and this polarization and the suffering in the world and the wars and everything else? And what if by changing my dream, my individual dream, I can have an impact on the collective dream that humanity is having around this good, bad, right, wrong, blame, shame, and light, dark? And what if it's all something we can wake up from and even wake up inside the dream so that we can take a very different, loving perspective on life? A few books that I recommend um, that might have a similar philosophy that have impacted me is A Course in Miracles is one where it will say in A Course in Miracles, this never happened. And we are not having this, we're having this experience, but it's not real. And one day we'll wake up and everybody will wake up and we'll notice that we never left home. We never left love. And this was just a dream we were collectively having. So, A Course in Miracles is one place you might look at. And movies. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember all the details of the movie, but I remember being fascinated by it, and that's What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams in it. And so he uh, dies and creates a different dream of life or there after dying. Another movie that's is indicates this kind of idea is the movie Inception, where each dream at lower and lower levels is less stable. They don't know when you're in the dream, you don't know you're dreaming. And you have this, in order to wake up, you have this top in the dream. And if the top keeps on spinning and doesn't fall over, you're probably dreaming and you can bump yourself back into higher levels of the dream, but it could go on forever. So the idea is in that. And of course, the idea that we're dreaming is in the matrix movies from a little bit different perspective. That like all of humanity is just having a dream, and then we wake up into a very different world. Um, that where these machines are extracting energy from us in the from the dreams we're having. I don't relate quite so much to the waking up and the red and blue pill that way, but I definitely relate to how do we become lucid, awake within this dream and life, and treat every time we are taking a perspective of something is not love, um, where we get lost in the victim, lost in the shadows of life. If we can turn that around and love what is. So, um, and another useful book might be Byron Katie and Loving What Is. So, hope you got something out of this podcast. I may refer to this or the dream, life is a dream, in future podcasts. But I think just taking that perspective on this and what's happening in our world today, and then bringing it back to self. If I'm upset, if you're upset with anything in life, imagine that that upset is just being attached into the dream and an opportunity set up for you to wake up from that element of the dream and come back to love, come back to the place eventually of unconditional love, where no one can hurt you in any way because life is just the dream.